A few years ago, I was at an orientation thing for an amusement park I was applying for. I was hired, but I wasn't working yet. I had none of my certification. I wasn't allowed to look at a roller coaster cross-eyed yet. For the event, we had to wear something similar to the uniform, khakis and polos basically. For the next part of our training, I had to walk across the park full of people. I was very clearly following a map given to me, and I was hustling because I was already short on time. I get stopped by a family who wanted me to take 5,000 pictures. Because I was technically hired and didn't want to get in trouble, I took the photos. Then a family insisted that I walk them to a ride 5 minutes away. And then someone asked me to throw their trash away. I was very young. I didn't even think I could say no. I was super late to the orientation. I got chewed out by my trainer, and when I explained what happened, they told me that I was right to help, but that it was no excuse for being late. Needless to say, it was not a very magical place to work. I left shortly after finishing training. What is going on, guys? Birdman1216 here, back with another Reddit exploration video. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. If there's anything special you'd like me to do for reaching this milestone, please let me know down in the comments below. With that out of the way, here is episode number 7 of r/IDontWorkHereLady. Our first story is called, I'm Not a Security Guard. This happened at a con, and it's pretty calm compared to some of the stuff on here. Some background. I couldn't have been older than 15. The convention that con held the previous year, all the security guards or volunteers had the options to dress up as a purple guy because of the whole FNAF craze. A lot of people did, apparently. The year I went, I only got to go on Friday, the day of the rave, and I had dressed up as purple guy with some pretty heavy makeup and fake stubble. I had walked around all day, and people had mistaken me for someone as old as 18 because of my makeup and because I was tallest out of our group that had gone together. So I was used to everyone being pretty surprised when I told them I was still somewhere between 13 and 15. So around 10, we go line up to go to the rave, and we were just having fun chatting with other cosplayers and fellow convention nerds. We got in, got some glow sticks, and had fun for like 30 minutes until my friend had to go use the restroom and needed extra help to reapply some pieces afterwards. I ended up staying, and everyone else, 3 in all, had gone to the bathroom. I just stayed near the entrance/exit for them to come back. I've been told I have some serious resting bitch face and that I could pass as a bodyguard before. I was standing there swinging the glow stick I had, waiting for my friends to come back. I must have looked less intimidating than the actual decked out cops near the doors though, because this really sweet cosplayer walked up to me and had the conversation with me that went a little like so. C, cosplayer, M, me. Excuse me, do you know where the bathrooms are? Huh? Oh, sorry, do you know where the bathrooms are in this area? I looked really confused at her for a second, and it clicked. Took me a second because it was late and my mind was a little foggy. I felt odd someone had actually mistaken me as actual security, but I couldn't blame the girl and just stuttered out my response. Oh no, I don't work here, I'm sorry. The cosplayer seemed a little confused and just blushed and looked really embarrassed. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. I told her it was fine, we laughed and chatted, then she went to an actual worker and found the right place to go. I love this story because of how lighthearted it was, also the fact that I was mistaken as someone who could have been a cool security guard at a con. This story is a perfect example of how to act when someone tells you they don't work there. You don't get angry at them, you don't try to find their manager, you just accept it for what it is and find someone who actually does work there. Next up we have, there was a fire, no you can't have a cheeseburger. I am a fire investigator for insurance companies. A few days ago, I was at a fire at a super common fast food restaurant helping another investigator process the scene and dig. All the fun parts of my job without any of the responsibility of report writing. It was so cold that if you farted too wet, your ass hair would freeze. So I was in black coveralls and my black Carhartt with a baseball hat and a regular N95 mask because fires in fast food restaurants are gross, you know? I looked in no way like a restaurant employee. Even with the black clothes, you could tell I was covered in soot and debris, and what restaurant employee wears an N95 that's been stained black? I was standing outside in the parking lot with another investigator that was there, and we were chatting, taking a break from being in the grossness from inside. The parking lot has been filled with debris. On one end of the parking lot, there's a 9-foot tall pole of random burnt stuff. On the other end of the parking lot, in front of the drive-thru, are all the roof ventilation systems that are half burnt and melted in a big pile along with a whole assortment of burnt stuff. There's caution tape everywhere, there is fire debris haphazardly strewn throughout the area, there's a very visible hole burnt in the top of this building. There's a gosh dang fire engine parked at one entrance of the parking lot with their lights on blocking the entrance. There was no way to misunderstand what had happened to this building. A man in an old van drives by with his window down, slowly staring at us. He has this inquisitive look on his face. He drives past the first entrance, then attempts to turn into the entrance blocked by the fire engine. He backs out, turns around, then turns back into the other entrance, headed right for us. I say us. The other investigator wisely caught on to what was about to happen and whispered, "Good luck," and hauled ass back inside, leaving me alone with the van guy. Screw him. Anyway, van guy drives around this big-ass pile of ash and stops in front of me. He says, "Hey, what happened here?" I replied for what feels like the millionth time in my career, "There was a fire." He says, "Oh, what started it?" And for the millionth time I replied, "That's what we're here to find out." He says, "Oh, okay. Well, can I have a cheeseburger and a medium fry?" Trying very hard not to say what I truly wanted to say, which was some variation of, "Guy, do I look like a fast food worker?" I told him that no, there was a fire, you can't have a cheeseburger. He then proceeded to ask, "Well, can I have a large Coke then?" Again, no, there was a fire, you can't have a freaking Coke. You know how you can see when someone has a moment where they have a moment and it finally clicks? This guy had that. He looks at me and asks very intently if I work there. I say, "No, I'm here investigating the fire." He then asks, and I'll never forget it, "So they're closed, but why?" Feeling like I've met the universe's densest star, I replied, "Because there was a fire." He finally just says, "Oh, okay, well bye," and just drives away and out of my life. I'm still not sure he truly understood why he couldn't have his food. I walk back inside, and the a-hole who had just left me to deal with, Jacques Clouseau himself, is standing there and just asks how it went, because I work with a-holes. Sometimes I wonder how people like this can even keep themselves alive. I mean, there's gotta be some sort of threshold for minimum intelligence that you have to have, and our final story today is called, "No, I can't get you a new 3DS XL. I'm not an employee." So, this just happened an hour ago, and I'm still annoyed. I'm a regular at my local GameStop, and I've been known to chat with others in the store while I'm browsing. Sometimes a person, usually a mom or dad with a younger kid, will ask me if I know any good games for children. That's not a big deal, and I usually recommend something like Pokemon, Mario, Harvest Moon, or something from the Lego franchise. Today I went in to get a game I'd pre-ordered a couple months ago, and was at the counter chatting with the girl who worked there, and I had gotten to know fairly well. She had run out of copies of the game up front, and asked if I'd wait a minute while she went to get another game from the back. I said yes, and she went off to get the game. While she was gone, a man and his daughter came in and were looking at the 3DSs behind the counter. The girl picked out one that was pink with a Princess Peach crown on it. The dad then turned to me and asked if I'd get it down for him. I was surprised and said that I didn't work there and I wasn't allowed behind the counter, but the lady who did work there would be back in a second and he could talk to her. He didn't like that. He said he'd seen me somewhere before talking with people and recommending games, which obviously meant I worked there. The girl was getting impatient and wanted the device, and again her father asks me to get it. I again tell him that I can't because I'm not allowed to be back there and I don't work there. That's when the other lady came back with my game. She asked if she could help them while she was ringing me up. The dad said that I was being a bad employee and refusing to do my job, that I was lazy, and that I was pretending not to work there so I wouldn't have to do anything. I was shocked, and the actual employee girl was very confused and said to this man that I don't work there. He went pale, realizing what he just said, even after I told him the same thing twice. He apologized, restating that he'd seen me there before and just assumed I worked there. I didn't stick around after that. My freaking God. Ah yes, a classic case of, oh, you're nice to people in public, so you must work here. Because I know there's no way that you can just be nice to people to be nice to people. Yes, because it stands to reason that you'd be helpful to everyone in the store, except this one specific person when they asked for help. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Once again, thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. The traction and support I've gained on this channel over the past 2 weeks is surreal. If you did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate you giving it a like and hitting the subscription button if you haven't already. This is Birdman1216, signing off. As always, links to all the original stories can be found in the description box below.